Welcome back! So, in another episode, we learned about some of the basic rights of workers. Ngayon naman, pagtutuunan natin ng medyo mas malalim pa ang karapatan ng manggagawa. We will be discussing other rights such as equal opportunities at work, freedom from sexual harassment, and a few others. Pero syempre, kasama at kaakibat ng karapatan ay ang responsibilidad. In this lesson, you will learn that while you enjoy certain rights, there are responsibilities that you must fulfill. Ang mga tanong na susubukan natin sagutin ay kung ano ang gagawin kapag ang ating karapatan ay nilabag at kung sino ang makakatulong sa atin. It discusses the proper government agencies and private organizations that can help you uphold your rights as a worker. After today's discussion, you should be able to explain your other rights as a worker, discuss your responsibilities as a worker, and identify different government agencies and private organizations that could help you uphold your rights. Part 1. The rights of workers. Listen carefully as we discuss these rights of workers. The right to completely air grievances. Workers have the right to completely air their grievances. This means that they can complain to their employers or to the management about unsatisfactory working conditions, insufficient wages and benefits, and others. Under Article 255 of the Labor Code, the state preserves and respects the right of an individual employee or any group of employees to present grievances to their employers at any given time. A labor dispute is any controversy or disagreement about terms or conditions of employment or representation of persons in the negotiation for changing terms and conditions of employment. The right to self-organization. This brings us to another worker's right, which is the right to self-organization. Article 243 of the Labor Code states that all persons employed in commercial, industrial, and agricultural enterprises have the right to form, join, or assist labor organizations of their own choosing for purposes of collective bargaining. An employee can join labor organizations on the very first day of his or her employment. A labor organization is any union or association of employees which exists in whole or in part for the purpose of collective bargaining. It also deals with employers concerning terms and conditions of employment. The following can be members of a labor organization: industrial, commercial, and agricultural workers, employees of religious, charitable, medical, and educational institutions, profit or non-profit, and employees of government-owned or controlled corporations. All other workers, including those who are self-employed, have no definite employer, and rural workers may form their own workers' association. Managerial employees are not eligible to form, join, or assist any labor organization. A collective bargaining agreement, or CBA, is a contract between workers and employers on terms and conditions of employment which are over and above those provided by law. Right to join lawful concerted activities. Article 263 of the Labor Code declares that, in line with the policy of the state to encourage free trade unionism and free collective bargaining, workers shall have the right to engage in concerted activities for purposes of collective bargaining and for their mutual benefit and protection. Lawful concerted activities includes the following: strike. This is stoppage of work by employees in order to get more favorable terms for themselves. It lasts until the employer grants their demands. Picketing. Walking or marching in the area or vicinity of a business involved in a labor dispute to convince the public not to support the services or products of the said business establishment. This may be done through word of mouth, banners, placards, etc. Collective letter. Employees or workers may voice out their grievances against the employer, management, through a letter signed and published by them. Publicity. The members of a labor organization or union may inform the public of the existence of a strike and the issues involved. They may do this through signs, handbills, or newspaper advertisement. Carrying of placards and banners. A striker or picketer may solicit public support by carrying placards or banners on public streets. Speeches, music, and broadcasts. It is lawful for a labor organization to express its opinion about the fairness of an employer towards a labor organization in a radio broadcast. It may also use a vehicle bearing signs that are not unlawful and carrying apparatus for broadcasting music. Boycott. This is refusal to patronize an employer's goods or services and to persuade others to do the same. Slow down. This is when employees, without seeking a complete stoppage of work, delay production and distribution. The right to participate in policy and decision-making processes. A worker has the right to participate in policy and decision-making processes affecting their rights, benefits, and welfare. This refers mainly to workers' participation in grievance procedures and voluntary modes of settling disputes. The right to a safe and healthy workplace. According to the Labor Code, employers are required to observe occupational safety and health standards. This is intended to eliminate or reduce occupational risk or hazards in the workplace. The workplace should have proper lighting, ventilation, fire exits, and others. The employer shall also provide safety devices such as first aid kits, medicine, and fire extinguishers. The right to equal opportunities at work. Another right of a worker is the right to equal opportunities at work or employment. The law provides protection for female workers against discrimination. It is illegal for any employer to discriminate against any woman employee on account of her sex or gender. The right to freedom from sexual harassment. The law also provides protection for women against sexual harassment. Under the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, all forms of sexual harassment in an employment, education, or training environment are unlawful. It includes the following: persistent telling of dirty jokes to a coworker who has indicated that he or she finds them offensive. Taunting, making angry a co-employee with constant talk of sex. Displaying offensive pictures or publications in the workplace. Asking a co-employee intimate questions on his or her sexual activities. Making offensive hand or body gestures at a co-employee. Making obscene phone calls to a co-employee during and outside work hours. Pinching, unnecessarily brushing up against co-workers' body. Requesting dates or favors in exchange for a job, more favorable working conditions, or assignments. And touching a co-employee in sensitive parts of his or her body. Threats of a sexual nature and actual sexual assaults. Part 2. The responsibilities of workers. Workers have their rights to air grievances, but just as we have rights, there are responsibilities that we must fulfill. Your responsibilities as a worker include the following: perform efficiently and conscientiously the task assigned to you, as well as other tasks that you and your employer have agreed upon. To air your grievances in a peaceful manner. Obey company rules and policies. Never engage in rioting and other forms of violent activities. Not to damage the property or harm the employers, their families, and authorized representatives. Observe proper health and safety measures. Always participate in issues, policy, and decision-making processes that will affect your rights, benefits, and welfare as a worker. Report any violation of your rights and those of your co-workers to the proper authorities. Part 3. Government agencies that uphold workers' rights. There are government agencies and private organizations that can help you assert your rights as a worker. Department of Labor and Employment, DOLE. This is a government agency responsible for protecting the rights of both the workers and the employers. National Labor Relations Commission, NLRC. Labor disputes between employees or labor organizations and employers are brought to the NLRC for immediate action. A labor arbiter is assigned to hear both sides of the issues, weigh the evidence, and give judgment or decisions. Social Security System, SSS. Workers who are employed in the private sector may receive benefits such as sickness, maternity, disability, retirement, and others. Government Service and Insurance System, GSIS. Employees of the government covered by the GSIS receive benefits in the same way that those covered by SSS do. Employees Compensation Commission, or ECC. The ECC is the agency responsible for benefits such as sickness, disability, retirement, death, and funeral benefits that are work-related or have happened in the course of and arising from performing one's job. If you are a member of a union or labor organization, you can seek support from the following. Bukluran ng Manggagawa para sa Pagbabago, BMP. National Confederation of Labor, NCL. National Labor Union, NLU. Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, TUCP. Trade Union Philippines and Allied Services, TUPAS. For female workers who need assistance in fighting for their rights, the following organizations will help them. Bureau of Women and Young Workers, BWYW, of the Department of Labor and Employment. Gabriela Philippines, National Council on the Role of Filipino Women, NCRFW. Part 4, Summary and Closing. In this lesson, you'll learn that workers also have other rights, such as the right to completely air grievances, the right to self-organization, the right to participate in peaceful and lawful concerted activities, the right to a safe and healthy workplace, the right to equal opportunities at work, the right to participate in policy and decision-making processes, and the right to be free from sexual harassment. Inasmuch as a worker enjoys certain rights, he or she must perform certain duties and responsibilities. These include performing effectively and conscientiously the tasks assigned to him or her, as well as other tasks which both the employee and employer have agreed upon. Airing grievances in a peaceful manner. Not engaging in rioting and other forms of violent activities. Not damaging the property or harming the employers, their families, and authorized representatives. Observing proper health and safety measures. Always participating in issues, policy, and decision-making processes that will affect his or her rights, benefits, and welfare as a worker. And reporting any violation of his or her rights and those of his co-workers. And there you have it. Now that you know the rights and responsibilities of workers, it will be good to talk about these with your family, friends, and peers. Thanks for learning with me today, co-learners. See you again on our next episode.